I got a comment in one of my previous videos where somebody wanted me to speak on life after college and some tips and tricks of how to navigate the real world. All right. So before we get into it, we got to start off with some disclaimers. All right. For those of you that have been rocking with me for a minute, you guys know that college was not the highlight of my life. It kind of made me mature a lot faster than I wanted to, you know? I learned a lot of hard lessons, so forgive me if I'm not all sunshine and rainbows about it. Forgive me if I'm a little bit more straightforward, cutting edge with it. You know, this is just my perspective. I'm sure there are many people out there that had the time of their lives in college, but for me, I learned more adult lessons than anything. All right, so that might come out in this video, but y'all know me, I'm just raw and uncut. You know, so I'm just going to say how it is, and you can do with this advice and some of my words as you wish. One of the things that comes after college is you realize how cradled you were, how buffered you were from reality. You know, I went to a party school. I went to Penn State. And on any given weekend, you would see people looking like the Walking Dead out here because they're so drunk off their asses that they can't walk in a straight line. In the real world, you can't do that. But when you live in a college town, you get a lot more leniency. So if you were someone that was out there partying and doing your thing out there, once again, I ain't judging. I'm just saying you have to be more responsible, right? One of the other things is that you are going to quickly realize, some of you are going to get the quick reality shock that you didn't utilize all of the tools that were available to you in college, right? For example, let me actually skip to one real quick. I might forget what I was talking about. My thoughts are going to be all over the place with this one. But when it comes to utilizing people as resources, you're going to learn that there's this department in most corporate America jobs called human resources. Who are the resources to a company? Who are the resources that make all the money for the company? Humans. Therefore, you need to start to utilize human resources. Your professors are one of your greatest early on assets. Why? Because one of the things that they don't tell you about college these days is that that piece of paper called your diploma isn't as valuable as it used to be. Of course, your parents and your grandparents want you to go to college because back in their day, a college degree meant damn near an instant good job. But nowadays, how many thousands upon thousands upon thousands of kids have degrees now? So one of the real questions that you have to ask yourself is, okay, how am I going to set myself apart from everybody else, all those other thousands of 2023, 2024, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2030 graduates? How am I going to set myself apart from them, right? So one of the things I would recommend for a lot of you is to do a lot of job shadowing, get internships, you know, sacrifice even like a week out of your summer and get a job shadowing, because this is something I said before. I actually think I said it in my video that was more geared towards middle school kids. But if you were hiring people, who would you hire? The person that got a bachelor's degree to which you don't even know, what their GPA was, and some places ask, some places don't. But they have this piece of paper that says they graduated, like the other 10,000 kids that are applying to that company. Or would you rather hire the person that has no degree, but they have 17 certifications that deal directly with the job that they're applying for? You see how easily that piece of paper don't mean shit? Now, once again, I know I sound a little bit jaded, and let me go ahead and counteract that real quick. Getting that piece of paper, I don't want you to completely undermine it and go run to your mom and get the idea in your head that college is completely worthless. It's not. Especially when you go to a school that has a more enhanced rigor, to their curriculum. Penn State is one of them. I don't know about Harvard's and Yale's and all that type of stuff, but I could definitely say Penn State was one of them when they definitely had these things called weed out classes, where they made the class hard as hell on purpose so people dropped out. That is built into their system. You see what I'm saying? So when you make it through all that type of stuff, it gives you this sense of mental fortitude. You made it. Where other people dropped out, they quit halfway through, you made it. You completed the journey. You completed the assignment assigned to you. And that in itself is something that you should applaud yourself for. But that's for personal fulfillment. The world, I'm going to be real with you, doesn't really give a shit. Okay? Going back to human resources, you have to also learn how to utilize that alumni network. Penn State, they brag about that, and that was one of those things I didn't quite understand until I matured and I stopped having this internal hatred towards school. But like, Penn State, there ain't nowhere I can go without seeing a Penn State banner. My dude in my office went to Penn State, and now that's what we have to chop it up about. Not that I care, but I can fake the funk when I'm in the office. I just went out to a job site, and there was a chick that had the Penn State banner. Oh, you're a Penn State alumni? Oh my God, you too? What'd you study? And that's how the connections form. So if I ever wanted to leave this company, then I could utilize that networking event, aka me going to work and seeing someone that went to the same school as me. I could just go there and be like, hey, yeah, hey, you were the one that graduated from Penn State, right? Hey, by the way, do you have any connections for a new job in this field? Oh, okay. Networking is very important. So utilize your professors and utilize the people after you graduate, especially like when you get fresh into the workforce. Always use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your new Instagram when you're trying to find a job. The only time I'm on LinkedIn is when I'm looking for a new job. You feel me? And utilize that. Don't be cheesy, don't be corny with it, but you have to learn how to navigate. And of course, there's going to be trial and error. Speaking of trial and error, the job hunt post-college. Once again, what's going to set you apart from all the hundreds and thousands of people that are applying to that same job, right? One of the things is you're going to see so many perfect jobs that you are perfectly qualified for. And guess what? You're not going to get as much as a callback. You have to learn how to create your resume and your cover letter. Always, if you want to be taken seriously for your job application, you always should do a resume and a cover letter. Some people say just submit your resume, and if that's how it is, then so be it. But I would say go the extra effort of submitting your resume and cover letter to an actual person. Sometimes on the job board, what you also need to remember is that we are living in a digital age. When you are applying for these jobs post-college, you need to do your research. Now, I get you. Sometimes you get lazy. You're like, in my first job, well, my first job was local, so it's easier to get. But when I had to move, I realized how hard the job hunt was. And that's when I started to realize that you're going to have to throw a lot of applications out there. You're going to spend hours upon hours upon hours making new applications. Now, here's the part that, some people might not like to hear, but there's going to be the lazy applications. And there's no, I'm going to get that job. I want that job, that one right there. So yes, you should always have a generic cover letter for the little job that you don't quite care about. I'll take it, you know what I'm saying? And then you should have a specific one. When you're making that specific cover letter and or resume, making tweaks to it, go on the company website and look at the job description that you're applying for, and go in there and find the key words, right? For example, for me, it's like field experience, soil science, groundwater sampling. These are things that you want to put in your resume. You don't want to put I go out and collect water. No, you want to use the exact verbiage that is in the job description, because most of the time, especially with the bigger companies, they're not even going to read that with a human first. They're just going to sort it out. They're going to let some program sort it out. And when people have the most hits, when people have the most keywords, those are the ones that get pushed to the hiring managers. All right. When you apply, you have to go the extra effort. Once again, for the jobs that you really want. Sometimes you're just going to throw some resumes and cover letters out there. We all do it, but for the ones that you really want, you have to get in contact with somebody. I don't care if you call them. I don't care if you email them. Until you get a reply from a human being letting them know that you sent in an application, you need to have that ready. Now, for me, I've done this so many times that I have a script. You know what I'm saying? But let me actually make one quick point. One of the things that you need to take in college is public speaking. And even if you don't want to necessarily take a class on it, practice it. I promise you, public speaking is going to set you apart as well. Y'all see how articulate I am with my thoughts, right? It's like, how are you going to sit through an interview and, well, I went to Arizona State, and I got my major, and, you see what I'm saying? That doesn't exude confidence. That doesn't tell the hiring manager that this person's going to be able to handle the job. This person's going to be able to handle a difficult conversation on the phone. This person's not going to be able to disseminate information clearly to me, so I know what to do in regards to this project. This person's not going to be able to make a presentation in front of the stakeholders. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the job is for you, right? What else, man? Once again, you have to realize as well. I told you I'm gonna be jumping around with this. But life. I'm just going with the ideas that are coming off the top of my head. You have to also remember that a lot of these people that you made friends with don't live in the same state as you, right? So when college ends and you're no longer in the same dorm, you're no longer down the street, you're no longer going to some school hosted event, you're no longer within a mile of one another, you're going to go your separate ways. Some people are going to keep in touch with you, some aren't, right? And then you have to also remember that you guys are young. Let's see, when did we graduate? 21, around 21, 22-ish, somewhere around there. Okay, your brain isn't even fully developed yet till like around 25. You feel me? So a lot of people are going to go through a lot of changes, and then a lot of people are going to go through life without you being able to see it, without you being able to see them every day. So they're living their lives in a completely different frequency. They're no longer thinking about you every day. So some of y'all are going to try so hard to hang on to these friendships when you should just let them go. Sure, every once in a while you can reconnect. Some people will have college lifelong friends. But if you're anything like me, I had a whole hallway of friends. I only talked to 2. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of the hard lessons that some of y'all are going to have to remember. Some of y'all are going to have your friends and you're going to continue the party. More power to you. But that just wasn't my experience, so I can't speak on that. You have to also remember how people acted. Now, of course, people can grow up and people can change. But you also have to remember to say, no, who was that guy when you were friends? Can you trust that guy? Can you trust that chick? How quickly did they make time for other people before you? I'm not saying hold grudges. I'm just saying take mental notes, because you have to remember, like I said before, you're children. I'm sorry. Even I still look at myself as a child. I'm almost 30. You know what I'm saying? But y'all are children right now. And you're going to realize that a lot of you have this. It's due to that buffer that I talked about. Like, how cradled you were in school. Some of y'all going to think the real world is sunshine and rainbows. Some of y'all going to think that you're going to get extra credit in real life. Some of you are going to be exposed to paying bills for the first time. Some of y'all should go ahead and get started right now learning about money management. It's like there's a lot of people that go broke trying to pay off their college debts because they're trying to pay off their college debts and keep up with the Joneses. Try to live the image, try to stay the people. A lot of people don't grow up. A lot of people still think it's cool to get blacked out drunk after college. It's not even really cool during college. You're still destroying your body, but at least you were young and stupid and you can use that excuse. And in the real world, nah, that shit comes with ramifications. Speaking of which, y'all need to make sure that what y'all put on social media, what you put out there for the world, you just have to imagine your boss sees it. Because there's this little thing, let me go ahead and break y'all in real quick. There's this little thing called background checks. So they will look through your social medias. They'll look through all this type of stuff. They'll look through to make sure they validate you went to school. They'll make sure like you're not a crazy person, but they will go through your social media some places if they can find you that easily. And if they go through your social media and they see you being belligerently drunk, they see you talking so much shit, they see you, being in fights, they see you doing a whole bunch of promiscuous activities, they're going to look at you crazy. It's like it's all about controlling your image when you get into the work world. I promise you. Now, I'm not saying coming out here and being fake, but I'm saying control your image, right? This is where my manipulative side comes out in corporate America because this is my bread. This is my livelihood. So I better make sure I'm secure. It's like, once again, I'm not faking. I just turn up the friendliness. I just turn up the charm. I just turn all this type of stuff up. I turn up the confidence even more, but in the corporate way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, hey, you have to control the image because people talk. In the office, some of these people have nothing to do but work. Some people's lives is nothing but work. I promise you, that's all they do. They wake up, work. They go to sleep, they're thinking about work. Some people work all day and take their work home with them. Some people think that working more is more valuable than working smarter. Work smarter, not harder. Some grown-ass people, like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, still think that if they work harder, they're going to be deserving of that partnership or that promotion, that partnership, that whatever. If you work smart and you just network and you talk to the right people, you're always going to be in the right people's heads. It's like, once again, I have this thing where in my field, I work in the environmental field. So there's a lot of field work to build myself up. A lot of y'all are going to be very much humbled. right? Because y'all been watching so much TV where you think that your first job is going to be sunshine and rainbows and you're going to be able to buy the cars, buy the houses, all this type of stuff. No, you're an entry-level worker. Entry-level people do not get paid as much as you think, depending on the field that you're in. But especially in the construction/environmental field, not so much. You kind of have to work your way up. You know what I'm saying? So, you be careful about that. Don't be out here thinking like, oh, I'm going to go make, and let's just say for like regular schmegular jobs, like I'm not talking about business, banking, all that type of stuff, engineering and stuff like that. But, other types of jobs, especially ones that require a lot of field work. It's just like you're going to have to go out here and you're going to realize that you're going to be treated like shit. You're going to be working like a dog. That's why for me, like I said, like the college degree, it's like, what? Why did I need a college degree to put sand in a bucket and take it to a lab? Why I need a college degree to read this manual when I joined the company? They give you a manual that tells you how to do your job. So why did I need to go to college for that? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all need to really take inventory right now. Is your degree 100% necessary for the work that you're trying to get into? Some of y'all are just there to make your mommy and daddy happy. I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have this revelation until after college. But I'm just being real with you. It's like a lot of these jobs do not require a college degree, but it's still the old way of thinking that's in control. So they'll say, oh, you need a bachelor's degree. You need a bachelor's degree, but you're not going to ever use anything that you learned in school. It's weird. It's like, once again, I'm not trying to be jaded. I'm not trying to deter people from going to college. If that seems like a cool idea for you, go for the experience. Go to learn people, because one of the things I learned is I learned how the elites move. How do I know how the elites move? Because I went to school with their children. You know what I'm saying? Penn State's still like a public university and stuff, but come on, fam. Like, everybody knows Penn State. And when you see Lamborghinis and sports cars driving through campus, there's some money there. You know what I'm saying? So go for the experience, but just don't make it you. Don't be the person that looks down on people because you got a degree and they didn't. They're ultra successful and you're hating on them because they didn't bother going to college. You know what I'm saying? No, they worked smarter, not harder. They didn't spend 4 years being fed a whole bunch of lies and books. A lot of these professors, okay, something else. A lot of these professors, depending on your field, of course, a lot of these dudes don't have a lot of field experience, a lot of real life experience. Some of your professors were born and bred in academia, which means they were born and bred in the school system, in the universities. So their whole perspective on life is skewed because they just get grants from the school that they've been at for the last 10, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people haven't, and then even the ones that have been, their field experience is null and void because they haven't been in the field. They haven't worked up. They haven't worked in the current state of the field, like the field as in like the market would be a better word. They haven't been in the current job market for so long. They're just comfortable. Why can't you do this? Why can't you just talk to so-and-so? Why can't you do this? Well, let me go back to something real quick too. Public speaking. Public speaking is incredibly important. Because for me, I know if it were just based off of me having a conversation with someone, I could get a job in banking. I could get a job at NASA. I could get a job at wherever, simply because I'm very fluid with articulating my thoughts. Let me just give you a brief example. I'm making this up on the fly. But let's just say I have my real life degree is in environmental sciences, pretty much, right? But if I was to say I got an interview for a banking job, now, once again, I'm making this up and this would not really fly, but you can see what I'm talking about here. Like if they ask me, well, you have an environmental degree, what's that have anything to do with banking? Well, I study the environment because I truly love humanity. I love people, right? And everything in nature has to do with our food. But the thing is, if the environment's polluted, our food's polluted. But we need the right ways to fix things. People need to fix things, people need to eat. And the only way that these things happen is through money. Money is something that I'm very interested in because I want to have a lot of it, but I want to have my hands-on experience and learn from it. I want to learn and I want to grow in this company and prove my worth by rising up the ranks, by taking on more increased responsibilities. You see? I just made that up on the fly, but you see what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? And if I wasn't able to to think quickly on my feet, if I wasn't able to utilize some of my experiences in a way that makes sense to the person that I'm talking to, I'm gonna look stupid. But if I'm able to do that, then that could just at least get them to stroke their chin a little bit, But then of course my resume and my credentials and not having that type of stuff is gonna like get me booted out. That's why I said that would never work in real life. But you never know. But that's just it, right? Once again, my school helps me a lot. I will admit. Penn State, people say, oh, you went to Penn State? Oh my goodness. And a lot of people get that mixed up with University of Penn thinking that's Ivy League too. So I just work that to my advantage. You have to know when to speak and you have to know when to shut up. If people think that you were Ivy League, hey man, I'm gonna let that rock. As long as I get this job, I don't care. You feel me? But one of the things that you have to also know how to do is learn legalese. Learn how to speak corporate America, right? Learn how to give those empty confirmations. For example, there was a job like my first job, don't get me wrong, anyone could have gotten it, but nevertheless, my first job was in the construction field and I wanted to be an environmentalist and such. I had no experience and they knew this. They saw my resume, all that type of stuff, but they just needed bodies, really. I got overworked and underpaid. That place was some bullshit, but that taught me some lessons too. But the thing is, when I was in that interview, he asked me, like, so what experience do you have in the construction field? And I was like, well, and sometimes you can use that being a fresh graduate to your advantage, so what do I say? I was pretty much along the lines of, well, I don't really have any experience yet. I literally graduated a month ago. However, I do have job shadowing experience with such and such company and such company. And I feel that, that helped me expose me to know what I'm getting myself into. I've been around the engineers. I've seen the AutoCAD. Once again, these are words that they know, but I have no actual experience with it. I've seen AutoCAD. I've worked with the engineers. I've sat in on meetings. I actually contributed to a city meeting during one of my job shadowing events. That's why that job shadowing stuff is important. It's like a free internship. It's like an unpaid internship. But even if you do it for a weekend, weekend, whatever, you can still put that down on your resume as work experience. Is it not experience? Or haven't you gotten more experience than someone that just sat at home and played video games all day during their weekends, during their summers? So that's why that job shadowing experience, and that's why those internships are very important. When you do these job shadowing experiences, I know I got off track, I'm gonna get back to it. But when you do these job shadowing experiences, when you do these internships, make damn sure you stay in contact with these people. Because these people become references. And no matter how good or how bad you were, always get you need 3 minimum references from every job you come from. You need 3 minimum references. You need a manager. Don't burn the bridges, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need a manager and maybe just 2 people that you worked with. But it helps. Sometimes you can just get 3 people that you worked with that can vouch for you. But you also need to remember that when you have that managerial position, managers speaking highly of you, project managers speaking highly of you, and whatever high-ranking titles are up there, that's going to make you look really good because you might nail the interview. Your resume might be cracked. Your resume, your cover letter was perfect. You hit all the buzzwords that the computer scan was looking for and that the hiring manager was looking for. But then when they call your references, oh, he's an asshole. Oh, he's always late. Oh, he always has something snarky to say. He always has a bad attitude. You see how all that purpose stuff can be completely wiped out if you don't have those references? So those references are very important, But yeah, so make sure that you don't let all those classes go to waste. Some of those classes may have absolutely nothing to do with the job that you're getting in. But for me personally, I love to use I remember I used it in my second job with the interviews, and I had an environmental scientist and a couple engineers in my interview. And there's a word that I use in a lot of projects because it made you sound so smart. And that word for you environmentalists out there is eutrophication. Okay, eutrophication is a big fancy word for algae bloomed in like a pond or something, and because all the algae soaked up all the oxygen in the water and blocked the sunlight from getting in, it caused the water to be dead. It killed all the life under the algal blooms. That's all it means. Algae spawned, ate up all the oxygen, blocked all the sunlight, killed the stagnant water that was there. But when I say that, see, I can add on to that though, because yeah, in my studies, I learned how nutrient overloads and runoff pollutants affect our waterways. These things cause, water toxicity. They cause things like eutrophication, which is pretty much, and then insert the definition I just gave you. Man, people be like, oh my God, this man really knows his stuff. All I said was two common sense things, but you have to know how to spin it. You need to know how to sell it. Go watch some sales things. Go read some communication books. The art of the sale, communications. Watch successful businessmen. Not even caring about necessarily how what their field is, but go watch some TED Talks. Go watch the most powerful public speakers and just see how you could take some of those skills and implement them into your interviews. I'm trying to think. What else is there? Well, we can go common sense too. Clean up your diet. Clean up your diet. Ramen noodles, Monster energy drinks, and 16 coffees with some whiskey in it is not the move. It's like when you start to use those sick days. Sometimes you have to use them. Know when to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, whatever. It's like you know when to hold them when it comes to your vacation days and your sick days. You working at McDonald's, Burger King, Target, Walmart is not the same if you working at such and such incorporated. Johnson and I don't want to say Johnson & Johnson, fuck them. But some banking firm, some lawyer firm, doctors, engineers, whatever, all that type of stuff. When you get into the real world, you can't just be calling out like that, because there's this one so there's this thing that y'all gonna especially know, depending on your job, of course. But if you have to worry about billable hours, hey, when you start being sick all the time, and of course use your vacation time, it's there for a reason. But when you start to call out sick all the time, using vacation on very important days, what that's going to start to show is the company can move on without you. And one of the harsh lessons that you have to learn is when you become non-billable, when you are not making the company money, it doesn't matter how much the people like you, doesn't matter how often y'all go out to drinks together, doesn't matter how often you dog sit for your colleagues and your co-workers. If you ain't making the company money, you're going to be the one to go. And then also, too, there's something else I learned. And it's not necessarily I learned, but, it's not something that bit me in the ass, because I knew my time was limited in my last job anyway. But, one of the older guys, he said, the people that bill the most sometimes, not bill the most, but the people that put the most hours in are the ones that are sometimes the first to go, too. Once again, know your field. Sometimes, if you're bringing in hundreds and hundreds of billable hours, oh no, your company loves you. Don't get that messed up. But when it comes down to everyone is billable, but you are the one that's charging the most hours, but they think that other people can do your job for you, you're going to be the first to go too. Now, once again, that's I'm not trying to scare you, not saying don't work hard, not going out there getting that, collecting, racking up that overtime and stuff. I'm just saying you got to play smart. A real world piece of advice, and this is something that scared me, and I had a couple of videos where I was in a fear frequency, but one of the things that you're also going to need to remember is if you get fired from a job, it's not over. You know what I'm saying? It's not over. It's just you just know how to bounce back. When you get fired, I'm not saying when, but if in the event that you get fired, you have to either, there's two routes to this, go to war and sue, but if you're going to sue, you need to make sure that you have all of your evidence, because that is going to be a burnt bridge. And if you're going to burn a bridge, you better get your payout. If you don't, you burnt the bridge, you burnt connections, now you have a reputation and you didn't get no money, right? But also, if you get fired, make sure you ask for letters of recommendation. If you get fired for if the work, doing layoffs or something like that, don't get mad. Just get letters of recommendation, so you still benefited somehow from getting laid off or something like that, right? Because once again, those letters of recommendation, either you get contacts, which is just as I can call you up and I can give them your number if they say they need references, then they can call you. But then also you need to remember that you need to get stuff in print too. Have them type up a letter of recommendation, because sometimes even if they didn't like you but they want to leave on good terms, you could just have that letter of recommendation, and maybe that will be enough so they don't even have to have that phone call. You see what I'm saying? If you just, one of the things that you have to, the negative, see, my brain's going, but the negative side of corporate America is that like I said before, there's some people, all they do is live, breathe, and eat is work. You know, all they want to do is work, 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 work. That's how their brains work. And if either they like you or don't, everything is about that dollar at the end of the day. However, if you find yourself in a toxic work environment and you have like your managers are always, number one, your time is always limited in a toxic workplace. Like you have to face that reality. But if you are starting to get the hint that your boss is having you do some bullshit or having you work for free or having you do all this type of stuff, hey, send it to me in an email and I got you. That is the scariest, dangerous thing for a toxic employer. Oh yeah, just send it to me in an email and and I'll get that for you. You'll quickly see how many times they back off from having you do that extra work, from having you do their job. Hey, you just go ahead and write that in the email. Why? Because that's proof that you can bring up in litigation. Hey, well, so-and-so had me doing their job over and over. If they have stuff on a board, like if they have a work board, there was one time there was in my first job, once again, I was young and naive, but this guy had me doing his jobs for him, doing his job, his inspections, his tests and stuff for him. He would just say, hey, we got a call in. I need you to go out here. Okay. And then, me being the hard worker that I wanted to be to prove myself in the company, I would just jump to it. And I remember that was my 20-hour day. 20 hours. Now some people, that's bullshit. I do that every day. Whatever. That ain't me. It was a 20-hour day of laborious work, concrete testing, lifting the Newt gauge for density testing on construction sites. That was 20 hours. I almost fell asleep on the road driving home. And now, once again, I didn't have this level of foresight yet, young and naive, fresh out of college. But there was this work board, and it had it was like everyone else's names, everyone else's initials, on the board to say what their projects were, KT, LZ, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then me, it was PO, 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 all the way down the board. Now, if I took a picture of that could have shown me something, because I could, once again, how I'm good at spinning words, I could have made the argument that I was being picked on. I was doing other people's work. I was being overworked. I was being targeted. And that would be visible, tangible proof. So if you have a boss that's having you do some crazy stuff, put it to me, write it to me in an email, and I'll get to it. And then if in the event that you find that you have wrongful termination and stuff, and once again, wrongful termination. One of the things that you also, this is more so in the later years, I will admit, when you get to about mid-level in whatever field that you're in, start to renegotiate your contracts. Number one, this is an easy tip. Always, or I guess never, but always negotiate, but never accept the first price that they give you for your salary. Oh, we're going to give you 50 grand. Okay, that means, no, especially, here's the tip. Okay, so let's just say they're you're looking for about 50 grand. If they ever give you 48, if they ever give you 48, 38, 58, that means that they're ready to round up, but they're just seeing how much money they can save on you. So what you do is kind of like in negotiations. You say, but I think with and this is something that you have more leniency with in regards to like mid-level to higher levels to senior level stuff. But it's like if they're trying to offer you 48, you go for 54. You go for 55. Why not? Go highball with it, because you never know. They might just say, okay, cool. He's not a pushover. Or they might say, well, that's a little bit outside of our range, but the best that we can do is 50. That's what you were supposed to give me anyway. Why do we have to play this game? You see what I'm saying? It works like that every single time from my experience, But also, this is more so for once you know your worth, once you know you have some pull, once you start to understand and get your footing in your field, you have to start negotiating your salary, negotiating your benefits, negotiating all this type of stuff, because it's all open. It's all open for negotiation until you sign on that dotted line. And then the other thing is know what to sign and what not to sign. In my first job, right? Once again, this was like a kind of scumbaggy ass company, But one of the things that they did was, with your certifications, they would give you like a 25-cent raise. Once again, I got paid $12 an hour as a postgraduate, and that was more than some people were getting paid. That's ridiculous for the work that we were doing. I'm sorry, it's just like, quick sidebar. It's like I have this thing in my head where I find the people that sit in the office and just take meetings all day, I find y'all to be just as important as the people that actually go out in the field and the ones that are actually breaking their backs to keep the business rolling. If we weren't out here doing this, you would have no meetings to be talking about scheduling with. All you do is sit and schedule, talk, and fill out forms, and I'm out here breaking my back. You know what I'm saying? Will you come out here and do this? No. So why are you getting paid so much more? Now, that is just the way things are. But that's just one of those things that's going on in my head. But nevertheless, you know, like these you can probably, like, if a company really wants you, especially if they reached out to you, especially, work with that negotiation because they saw some value in you, especially when you get the mid-level and you got these recruiters on LinkedIn saying, hey, I came across your resume and I was really impressed. We think that you'd be a great fit for this position. Okay, cool. If you want me to come there, make it worth my while. I'm being paid this much now and I'm going to need my transition to a new job to be worth my move. If I'm getting paid 70, like 70 here, so you want me, okay, well, let's bump it up to 80. Let's bump it up to 90, depending on your field or whatever. And then hundreds, depending on where you are, 100, 110, 100, you know what I'm saying? It's like start to throw your weight around a little bit. No, it doesn't hurt to ask. You just have to do it in a professional way. No, I'm deserving of this. You guys are undercutting me. Who's going to want to do business with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of any last important things, but just to summarize it, okay, maintain your health, learn legalese, learn how corporate America works, learn who can be trusted and not trusted, learn who gossips, get in good with the, speaking of gossip, get in good with the secretaries, the front desk girl, the front desk lady. Always do that. You know why? Because they're typically nice. All they do is look out for you. They're the ones that are going to leave the little granola bars on your desk. You know what I'm saying? If you get in good with them, they're going to make sure you know where the coffee's at. They're going to know that you're coming in. They're going to get the coffee ready for you. I don't drink coffee, but I'm just throwing out stuff. Always be good with them, because if you get in good with them, most of the time they talk. They hear everything. They're in the office all day. So they'll give you the inside scoop. And once again, knowledge is power. And you have to realize something too. If the corporate America system is going to use you as a resource, you need to use it as a resource. Never give your loyalty to one company, ever, especially in the beginning. I've been here for 5 years. Yeah, but when times get tough, they gonna kick somebody out. Like my 2 companies back, I was there for like 5-something years, but I was quick to go when David 91 popped up. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't gonna get down with the get down. So never have your loyalty in one place. Like, especially in the beginning, they say job hunting is bad, blah, 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 blah. No, that is a myth, and I stand by that one. That might be a hot take for some of y'all, but for me, no. It's like, for me, the job hunting is very important, especially when you're building up your career, because you're just doing small entry-level jobs anyway, so you might as well get them from different companies. So like go 1 year. Now, if the place is banging and they are paying you well and all this type of stuff, then yeah, maybe stay in there and start to establish like a foothold. But you don't want to be that person that's been at one company for 5 years while I've been at like 6 different companies and all of them can speak highly of me. You see what I'm saying? So once again, you have to measure that with your own life, But it's like when you job hop, make sure you leave on good terms, common sense. Give your 2 weeks. Is that 2 weeks stupid? Yes. Because what's the 2 weeks? Your 2 weeks notice is essentially your company. You give them 2 weeks so they can find your replacement. Now, especially if you hate your company, I'd say give them a few days, give them a week anyway. Or, you could just be savage and leave anyway. I got a new job. I'm out. Peace. You know what I'm saying? You could play that game if you want to. Once again, that is an option. The 2 week, like a lot of them, and you have to read these words too, because I remember in one of our company manuals, they said the 2 weeks is highly recommended, or it's advised, not mandatory. You got to look into those words, and make sure you read these things before you sign off on anything, Make sure they got your benefits, health insurance. A lot of these places, health insurance is trash anyway, but, find you some good health insurance, dental, get those benefits. How much vacation do you get? You mean to tell me I'm supposed to work 365 days and I get no vacation? Nah, bro, that don't sound right, Use these places as stepping stones. Like I said, don't give these places your loyalty, because if money gets dry, they're gonna start crossing off names like it ain't nothing. Oh, this hurts us so bad. Well, if it hurts you so bad, why is my replacement already sitting at my desk? You see what I'm saying? Know your value. And even if you love your company, even if you love where you're at, always go on a couple other interviews just in case. Because like for me, I was missing out on a couple bags because, I've been at that company for 5-something years and I get my little 1%, 2% raises per year, which is nice. It compounds over time, but it ain't nothing. Because then the following company I got, it was like a 10 grand, 15 grand bump in my pay. I was like, wait, I could have been making this the whole time? So you act like this is so tough, but like I could just jump ship and been making 10 grand more a year. That's some bullshit. Nah. So once again, that was just something with me. Also, too, the last piece of advice, because I know I'm talking in circles and I'm going all over the place, unless I think of something before I finish this. You need to use your job. If you are in your corporate America job especially, you need to be using your job to fund the future that you want. Do not solely rely on one salary. You know what I'm saying? Get you a side hustle, and this is something that I'm honestly too lazy to do because I see my future. I know what my future is. But for those of you that especially brand new, get your side hustle. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? How do you want to live? You want to live in a mansion? Well, working in construction, working in the environmental field ain't going to do it. Being a psychologist and a therapist ain't going to do it unless you got some multi-millionaire clients or something like that. So learn the skills. Sometimes you'll find, depending on the field that you're in, you find that you can do this shit yourself. You have to remember that your companies make money off of you. So if you make $1, they make 10. You see what I'm saying? So like if you look at how billabilities and all that type of stuff works, you'll see how much money the company makes off of you and you get like a little fraction of it. So why don't you cut out the middleman and go work for yourself? You see what I'm saying? So use it to fund the future that you want. And you have to make the time too. Work takes up your hobbies. That's why I say wake up early. Wake up early and exercise. Wake up early and read a book. Wake up early and meditate. Because people always be saying, I don't have time. Well, wake up earlier. Oh, I can't wake up early. I'm not going to. Hey, if you want to live in that mansion, if you want to be driving around Bugattis, if you want to be living on the land, if you don't want to work, how are you going to do that when corporate America gives you pennies on the dollar? You see? The corporate world is not what they make you think it is. You are nothing but a cog in the wheel, to be quite honest with you, because you are always replaceable. Now, when you get into senior positions, they find that it gets harder and harder and harder to replace you. But even at that level, there's still somebody out there. Hope that helped. I know this is long-winded, but it's like I was actually a lot more positive than I thought I was going to be in this type of video. But feel free, for those of you that are out here in the workforce and you want to drop some advice to the young people out there, drop it down in there. But otherwise, till the next one. Peace.